And welcome back, everybody, here to the Sports Talk Nation. Michael Cohen here with you. And the complexity of the Jets quarterback search just gets more and more and more complicated. Let's get into it.
It's time for them to simply sign Derek Carr. The first of which is a conversation I had with a very important Green Bay Packers source, who quite honestly believes that Aaron Rodgers will be back with the Packers.
All right, so it's been a wild week since we last spoke here on Sports Talk Nation. Of course, the Jets brought in Derek Carr last weekend, and if you go by the reports, they hit it off great. The Jets like Carr, Carr likes New York. The Jets telling Derek Carr, if you want to believe all the reports that came out this week, that they believe that he could be the type of player that could take them to a Super Bowl, and if he should do so, if he came to New York, could be a first-ballot Hall of Famer. That's the report that the Jets apparently told Carr in their pitch to try to lure him here to New York. Of course, no deal is imminent right now. We got a long way to go in this process. And I'm going to be pretty honest with you, because this thing is getting crazier and crazier by the day. Get into the Aaron Rodgers stuff in a second. I'm starting to get nervous right now. I really am starting to get nervous right now because if it's not going to be Aaron Rodgers, is it going to be Derek Carr? If it's not Derek Carr, Lamar Jackson, probably not likely. Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't know. And you just keep rolling into different scenarios in your head as you're trying to figure out when are the chips going to start to fall here? When are they going to start to fall into place? And you hear these stories that the Jets, as I mentioned before at the top, that they like Derek Carr a lot, that they feel he could be a difference maker for them at the quarterback position. And you almost want to sit there and say, well, just get it done now. Get it done. But we all know it's not going to happen that quickly. Reports now are that Carr, who also is being looked at by the Saints, has three other teams that, not named, but three other teams that could be in on looking at him as well. Not to mention there's a report, as I see here on USA Today, and it's really all over the place, that he is looking for a contract. This according to Diana Rossini from ESPN, who has also broke all that stuff about the Jets, lavishing praise about their visit with Derek Carr to begin with last week, that he is looking for a contract in the average of $35 million per year. And if he can't get that, or if the market doesn't dictate that, he may have to, lower it to around $25 to $30 million a year, which could be very interesting. Because right now you'll take a look at the two teams that he has been linked to, the Saints and the Jets. Neither team right now has great cap space at this moment. In fact, the Saints have the worst cap situation right now, as they are in the rears of $57 million. The Jets, of course, are over the cap by about $2.5 to $3 million, depending on how you want to look at it from sporadic. I'm just going to put the numbers up there for you right now. There's obviously going to have to be some changes. Let's just say the Jets were going to bring in Derek Carr or Aaron Rodgers or any quarterback for that matter. What would that look like? Well, obviously, you're looking at a contract of, let's just say, in that $30 million a year ballpark. The Jets are going to have to make some changes as far as cuts are concerned, and as far as the roster is concerned. C.J. Mosley being possibly a salary cap casualty. Laken Tomlinson, who was underachieved, probably a salary cap casualty. Carl Lawson, most likely a salary cap casualty. You'd like to see the Jets try to bring Mosley back on a cheaper deal, but you'll see how that works out. But there's going to be some moving. There has to be some moves made by Joe Douglas and this Jet front office. They know that, to try to get the Jets in a more comfortable position in the salary cap, especially if they're going to bring in one of these top quarterbacks. Not to mention, you got Quinn Williams and Quincy Williams who are going to be free agents as well, and the Jets have a lot of interest in bringing those two guys back into the fold as well for next season. So there's going to be some moving parts in that regard. Before any of that happens, before you even find out whether Carr is going to end up with the Jets, the Saints, somebody else, it's all going to revolve around Aaron Rodgers. It's all revolving around what he wants to do. And he's now come out of his hiding place that he was in for 4 days. As far as I know, he didn't see a shadow, but he is out of his hiding place. He is, last I checked here, was reportedly meeting with the Packers. Now, last week saw the story that the Packers were sick and tired of Aaron Rodgers and they want to move on. Now, according to Tom Pelissero, the Packers want to have Aaron Rodgers back on the one condition, that he's going to be all in this time. That's what they want. So there's a good chance there's a chance that Aaron Rodgers may not be going anywhere. There was also the story late Thursday that the Raiders are not going to be in the mix, if you want to believe that, not be in the mix for Rodgers at all. They're going to go in another direction. So now that limits, and the Raiders were thought to be the one team other than the Jets that would be in on Rodgers. Now it might be Rodgers either stays with Green Bay, retires, goes to the Jets, or unless there is a wild card team in there that we don't know about. So if you are the Jets, and we'll get to the Lamar Jackson thing in a minute. If you are the Jets, do you keep waiting for Aaron Rodgers to make a decision? Do you keep waiting to see what's going to happen with him? Or do you start to shift in another direction? Shift in another direction, meaning do you start to negotiate with Derek Carr on a contract and see how far you can get? Maybe you can get a deal done with him. If not, do you then think about trying to pivot towards Lamar Jackson, who apparently is in the middle of a contract dispute with Baltimore? And he wanted basically the same kind of contract that Deshaun Watson got from Cleveland, which was everything fully guaranteed. And we all know Cleveland is kicking themselves right now for that contract for many reasons, for that matter. But he wants the 5-year, $230 million contract. The Ravens offered him a long-term deal with only $133 million guaranteed. He wants it all guaranteed. Now there's talk that the Ravens may even consider slapping another franchise tag in him, which is the exclusive tag at $45 million, this according to ESPN, and that would allow the Ravens to control anything that happens in a market where they could end up trying to trade Jackson, meaning they slap that tag on him, somebody wants to get Lamar Jackson, they can negotiate a contract, has to be more than that $45 million franchise tag, and if they agree to terms with Jackson, whoever that team is, they would have to give up multiple first-round picks to the Ravens, which I don't think the Jets want to do. I'll be completely honest with you. I don't think there are many. I mean, look, and Lamar Jackson's a great talent, no doubt, no question about that. Dual threat quarterback, big arm, can run around all over the place, but player that's coming off of injuries too. Do you really want to get into the weeds there? I don't know if the Jets really want to do that. So that's why I'm getting nervous, because the longer we go into this process, and the more uncertain we have in this process, I don't know how this thing's going to pan out. And that's why I almost want to say, look, just sign Carr and get this over with. If it all falls apart, let's say the Lamar Jackson thing doesn't turn out, and the Aaron Rodgers, he stays in Green Bay, or Derek Carr ends up getting the money that he wants, $35 million a year from somebody else. Let's say it's Tennessee, or maybe New Orleans finds a way to come up with the money somehow. Whatever it may be. Then you're talking about the Jets getting stuck with Jimmy Garoppolo, or potentially even lower down the rung, Ryan Tannehill, if he gets released by Tennessee, and then obviously Andy Dalton, who's a free agent. So that's what you're looking at. It drops fast. It's like being on the edge of a cliff. That's what the quarterback market looks like right now. So I understand. Wait and see what happens, and give it a couple weeks, and we're approaching free agency in a couple weeks, and we'll have this all straightened out by then, I'm sure. But between now and then, it's absolutely freaking nerve-making. If you're a Jets fan, I want this over with as soon as possible. I want to have an answer as soon as possible, one way or the other, because you got other free agents you got to re-sign. You got, of course, the entire draft coming up as well. Get a quarterback in. If Derek Carr is the guy, if the Jets feel that Derek Carr is their guy, and that they're talking about he can be a Super Bowl and Hall of Fame quarterback if he comes here, then just get it done. Call him back, say, hey, look, we're going to make some changes here in our salary cap situation. We feel that we can make this happen. Start making it happen. Maybe it has happened. I don't know. Make it happen, because I'm so tired of hearing this. And look, I understand, like, if Aaron Rodgers comes out next week and says, I want to go to the New York Jets, that changes everything. I understand that. I totally understand that. I'm going on the premise that the latest story by Pelissero saying that Aaron Rodgers may end up going back to Green Bay. I'm going off of that right now. That's what I'm going off of right now. So we'll see what happens. Leave your thoughts below, folks. Tell me what you think. It's wild times right now in the silly season of the National Football League. Next couple of, hopefully we're going to jump to baseball here very soon. Here in the next couple of videos, we're going to do like a top 5 keys to the season, top 5 keys to spring training for the Mets, for the Yankees, in coming videos here. And if anything else breaks on this quarterback lunacy, we're going to bring that to you as well. Like and subscribe. We'll talk to you next time.